What's going on, mi gente? My name is Raziel Liz, and you're watching We Alive and Living. What's going on, mi gente? Welcome to We Alive and Living. Excuse the lights that we have all over the place. We was in the middle of filming a video for somebody, and we actually filmed like a little commercial. So in the middle of it, while we taking a little lunch break, a conversation came up that sparked my interest, and I said, you know what's funny? I spoke about that briefly in the last video, with the last video about gaming and relationships, and it's the word compromising. Compromise. A friend of mine, we were all talking, and he was a little bit stressed out, and I'm asking him, like, what's wrong? I'm like, what's going on with you? And he's like, my relationship, this and this and that. And we spoke about his relationship a lot, and it seems like what's going on in his relationship is the fact that everything has been compromised, right? So much, what I mean by that is so much compromising has happened to the point that him and his wife have lost each other, to the point they almost don't even know who each other are. Now, with that being said, I just wanted to give you a little bit of subject matter in the situation. Just wanted to give you a little taste on what's going on to the subject. So what's happening is, people in relationships, I'm in a relationship myself. Now, one thing that I found out to be successful in relationships is the fact of when you don't compromise, or at least don't compromise as much, things are more successful. You and your partner are happier. There's more longevity. And let me explain why. When you love a person, you want to love everything about them, the good and the bad. That's what your wedding vows say, right? And then you don't have to be married, but I'm just saying, that's what you're aiming for, right? You're with somebody, you want to end up possibly marrying them and staying with them as long as you can until death do us part, so to say. Now, when you compromise, people don't understand and just stripping away pieces of that person, pieces of each other. Now, some people might be watching this video and saying, oh, but you got me in the middle, everything is 50-50, and you got to compromise and this and this and that. No, listen, marriage counselors, a lot of them are very old school. Not all of them. So if you're a marriage counselor or counselor, relationship advisor, don't kill me, let me finish. Some people are very old school to the fact of the word compromise. A lot of people don't even believe in that word. They just use it because it's something to say to people in a relationship. Now, let me tell you why I say don't compromise, or don't compromise as much. Communicate. Communication is key in every aspect. And when I mean every aspect, I'm talking about key in getting along with each other, understanding each other, your sexual life. Communication answers all of that. Now, it shouldn't get to the point where you with a person and you don't know how to talk to them, or you with a person, you're laying in bed and you don't know how to kind of get into, the low down and dirty. You don't know how to get into certain things. And then because a lot of times people compromise so much that you compromise this, compromise that. And when you compromise, understand this. When you compromise something for somebody, or you change, or you meet 50-50, or you meet in the middle, you're asking them to alter something about themselves. You're asking them to change. You're asking them to do something different than the way they usually do it. Now, what's going to happen when you do this too much, or when you do this period, you get to the point where eventually down the line, you don't even know who you are anymore. You became somebody else for this person. You try to please this person so much that you compromised your ways to be the way they want you to be. Now, some people might get lost in communication there. Let me translate what I'm trying to say. I get when you compromise and you're a person there's certain things like, you might like to do these things, or something about the way you talk, or something. They say, hey, you gotta compromise, you gotta do this. I get it, or you make time for each other, whatever the case may be. No, you don't have to compromise the way you are. Communicate. Understand each other. That's why y'all together, right? When y'all was dating and y'all was seeing each other, everything was fine, everything was great, and then y'all started living together and you're like, oh my goodness, what's going on here? Now, there's certain things that it's hard to not compromise, and I respect that. And that's why I said certain things. That's why I said in the beginning of this video, try to compromise at least a little less than usual. What I mean by that is, now you're a person that's like messy around the house, and you don't like to do this, and you're lazy or whatever the case. That's different scenarios. That is not about compromising. That is about growing up. Understand? That's a whole different scenario. Grow up. Get over yourself. Stop being a slob over, I live comfortable like this. You chose to live with somebody? Yeah, there's certain rules and regulations that come with it. You want to meet each other at a point in the middle for those kind of things, everyday life, yes. But I'm talking about not compromising the individual that you are as a human being, the individual you are that makes you happy. communicate with each other in the sense of finding a way to make both situations, both lifestyles coexist. Communicate with each other in the sense of, instead of compromising, like in the last video I said, Vernon, you have a person that's a gamer and a person that's not, for example. You don't want them to stop playing the game. You don't want to take away something they like doing, or tell them to do it less. You need to communicate on the way for you guys to have the attention you need for each other and find a way to make time for everything that doesn't necessarily take time away from it. Now, if I'm a gamer, for example, and I don't mean to talk about the same thing in the last situation, but you know what? I'm a videographer, right? I like to film music videos and do things, and sometimes I can get too caught up in editing. I'll be in the room, I'll be editing for like 8 hours straight. Now, my partner has spoke to me about the fact that I don't want you to stop doing what you're doing. I know you love doing it, and I know you're busy. I don't want you to stop it. Just sometimes when I come home, I want to spend time with you. I want us to spend time together, eat together. You know, sometimes I'm so stressed out, I miss you. If there was a way to kind of, you know, get some time in for each other without taking time away from that. That put me in a perspective where I was like, oh, okay, I didn't have to compromise nothing. I just had to be a respectable person and say, oh, okay, cool. Now, some people might look at it like, oh, that's compromising because you prefer that. No, because that's not going nowhere. It's not going nowhere. Now, if it's a time crunch, cool, but you don't got a time crunch every day on what you're doing, you know, but you make time for each other. Now, I wake up upon my day and I go about things different because I respect that person. We communicated. So now, instead of compromising and stopping what I'm doing or doing it less, I might choose different times to do it. I might say, hey, do you work today? Okay, cool. What time you get out? Cool. So I might choose to do it sooner versus starting like at, I don't know, starting at 1 o'clock and going all the way to like 7. I might start as soon as I wake up. I might start as soon as 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and make it go long, the same amount of time, if not longer, that by the time my partner comes home, I'm done. Or I got all the time in the world, I'm tired of doing it, or I don't mind putting it down for a certain amount of hours because I've been at it so long, I might need a break. You see? So it's not about compromising. It's about communication and putting a plan in place and finding a way to reach the middle with each other. Sorry, I don't like using that term. Finding a way to help. Erase this whole part right here. You know, it's about finding a way on putting a plan in place for each other. You know, out of respect, out of love, out of the fact that you both want the same amount of attention. Remember, in a relationship, things ain't 50-50. F all that 50-50 stuff. The relationship as a whole. You guys, you took you and you took her and you put them together and made a new person called us. So it's not 50-50, it's us. We have kids, we have bills, we gotta make life work. So we need to communicate. Don't compromise the we, because when you compromise it, you're compromising it, you're chopping pieces of it apart and you're changing what made you love it. You can't take the good without the bad. Now, don't take the bad and try to compromise the bad and change it into something else that now you know what's gonna happen. That bad's gonna become worse at the end because you got a good and you got a fake good. You got a compromise good. And that good, that fake good is gonna start building up, building up, building up to the point that it's gonna explode when it reaches the point where it can't be fake anymore. So be careful what it is that you're trying to change in a person. Now, I'm not saying you can't compromise nothing. There are certain things in the relationship that should be compromised. Like if you're a messy person and that person's neat, you live together, you want to respect that person's, like, you know, I don't want to be, nobody wants to be in a messy place. Things of that subject matter. I'm sorry, I keep waving my hand because I feel like there's dust everywhere. But things of that subject matter is totally understandable. But I'm talking about changing the way a person is, the way they speak, the way they dress or something. It's not fair. You was okay with these things before you got involved with them. Like when you got involved and you love these things, you fell in love with these things. As time went on, you might have changed as an individual, but they didn't. Certain things in your life happen that you want to expand or dress different or act different. That's cool. You could be that person for the world, but when you come home, don't act different. Don't act brand new to the person you fell in love with. And it's not fair that you evolve to a point that you feel like the way they are is not good enough anymore. They supported you and was there for you from the beginning. They stood behind you no matter what, and they stand behind you even though you're evolving and you're changing a little bit. That's not fair to get to that point and just expect and assume them to get to that point as well. That's where you went wrong as an individual. You should have told them you was interested in these things. You should have communicated about them. Show them subject matter to make them interested. Show them why you like it. Show them that you want them involved with it, and then you could kind of create it together and build it into something together, us a we versus a you stepping out of the we and then coming back into the we, talking about it needs to be like this now. That's not how it works. I hope that made it clear for some people, and I made it clear for my friend a minute ago, and he's actually on the phone with his wife right now. I think they actually making sense of it now. But tune back in for other relationship advice. I do this on the side for people. I actually have a lot of relationship advice. I love to speak to people about relationships. I don't want nobody's relationship to fail. I just like people to fall in love and keep the love going, and sometimes we fall apart, miscommunication, and too much compromising. You're watching Real Live and Living. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Wow.